Hello everyone! We have made it to the third episode of Common Talk. Thank you guys for being here, and here's to hoping you guys have been enjoying the series so far. I can definitely say it's been fun making these videos. Now, for those of you who are new, and for some reason haven't seen the previous episodes, well, 1. Welcome. 2. Go watch them right now, what are you doing? And 3. I hope you're having a lovely day. Anyway, this series, appropriately titled Common Talk, will discuss a reading from my Comm 320 class, where I'll inform you all about the information in the reading in my own words, alongside discussing my own thoughts about the reading and providing silly little visuals behind me. So be sure to relax and enjoy your time here. Now, before I start, I'm going to be very transparent with y'all. I know that while my videos haven't been the best in terms of quality, I really appreciate you guys for sticking with me and hearing what I have to say. I've never really made videos like these before, but recording and going through the process of editing has really been eye-opening to what YouTubers do for me. Even more so considering all the things their videos possess. Like, I've just barely learned how to actually get my avatar to move, and even that took me a while to do. Despite that, I really do hope you all have been learning something new from this video, and here's to living each day to the fullest. So, why was I so open and honest there with you guys? Well, similar to most of my intro segments within the series, probably more directly connected than any others to be honest, this transparency that I gave you all, and the openness of my experiences making these videos, ties in with today's topic. And while it can be summed up to be transparency in the workplace, it's more than just that. It's the development of a culture of candor, and the steps that a good leader has to take in order to help foster and maintain an open and transparent environment where workers aren't afraid to voice their opinions or concerns with their leaders or bosses. Today's topic comes from a 2009 article by James O'Toole and Warren Bennis titled A Culture of Candor, and while relatively short, it still provides interesting insight and information in regards to a leader's role within a team and the ways in which they can influence and help other team members grow. So, yeah, how about we get started, shall we? So, let's start by changing the music, shall we? It is spooky season after all, so I think it's only fitting we do so. Now, let's talk about transparency and what O'Toole and Bennis means by that, right? So they don't mean the business definition of it, which they define as full disclosure of financial information to investors. Instead, they define it as the degree to which information flows freely within an organization, among managers and employees, and outward to stakeholders. This broad definition allows for wider application of the word within the workplace and gives us an easier time understanding what it truly means to be transparent. This transparency is something that leaders must strive to foster within their teams, as more modern views on what a team leader does is create organizations that are economically, ethically, and socially sustainable. This is way different than the previous ideas of leaders being valued for the extent to which they created wealth for investors. What this shows is that a leader is no longer valued for the wealth they bring, but instead the environment that they can create. With this understanding, it becomes evident that the culture a team leader creates is vital for the growth and success of the team or company. This is why they have to focus on creating a culture of candor. Now, what is this culture of candor? Well, it'll be easier to understand if I provide you a definition of the word. Candor itself can be defined as, at least by the Oxford Dictionary, the quality of being open and honest in expression. In this instance, we can see a culture of candor being an environment based on the openness, honesty, and of course, transparency amongst the people that are a part of it. Within this culture, leaders are valued greatly for their ability to remain cool-headed and gather information within a given task. Using the example provided within the reading, within a study looking at NASA pilots and their reaction towards situations, it was noted that those who acted rashly without taking the time to gain more information performed way worse than those who were open and inclusive to their crewmates. This was further perpetuated by how the leader interacted with the other members, where those that were interacting with them regularly was able to receive critical information from more willing team members than more decisive leaders. This is very important. Why? Because team members who stay silent and are unwilling to share critical information with a team leader leads to errors and mistakes that can really impact the effectiveness and efficiency of a team. In this manner, in such situations, open and honest communication, transparency, one might say, is greatly valued. This all stems from a problem that the authors describe as team tendency to groupthink. What is groupthink? Well, I'm glad you asked. Groupthink essentially refers to the inability of the team members to disagree with others. That's because they don't know how to really talk about any issues or problems they might have. Although this could arise because a team member doesn't want to provide much input or thought into what they are thinking about and therefore only go along with whatever is decided. Either way, groupthink is a negative thing that should be dissuaded within the teams, because while it may be nice to cooperate well with one another without any sorts of issues or problems, it is through working out the issues and problems that arise that allows for innovations or course corrections throughout a certain mission. So, what does this all mean? What's the point of all this? Well, if you look at companies today, or at least during the time that the authors wrote this article, they discussed the transparency problems that a lot of companies face with their employees. One of the transparency problems is that of the views on a company culture. In talking to about 154 executives, the authors found that 63% stated the company culture was opaque, while the other 37% described their company with clouds rather than sunshine. This provides a pretty bleak outlook. Another transparency problem is leaders' desire to retain power and abuse their position of authority in order to keep it. It doesn't matter whether others are smarter, these people, in an attempt to feel superior and exert their power in others, cause issues for creating a culture of candor. The final transparency problem to find here is the supervisors of the leaders, or board of directors, ignoring the problems and sometimes illegal actions of the leaders, abdicating their responsibility to provide genuine oversight. This, I believe, goes without saying, is a major issue. In their desire to keep their secrets and ensure they're maintained in power, these leaders instead create fundamental issues that can restrict a company from expanding or a team from furthering their goals. However, thanks to the modern era, this is starting to change. With information being at the fingertips of anyone thanks to new technology, it has since become difficult for these leaders to keep secrets, and thus almost forces a more open environment due to the amount of information out there. That doesn't stop them from trying, though. Although this is the case, it is greatly recommended that leaders foster a culture of candor, and in order to do so, however, they must ensure some things. 1. Encourage people to speak the truth. Leaders must trust others before themselves, and in order to do so, they must encourage truthful viewpoints from their followers. Whether it costs them a job or not, a great leader, as our authors write on page 10, must welcome alternative viewpoints. 2. Reward contrarians, that is to say, encourage pushback to decisions or ideas, as a healthy culture has employees challenging it. This pushes the leaders to listen to others and reward those who don't accept the status quo, but instead challenge it. Number 3, they have to practice having unpleasant conversations. This refers to giving negative feedback, where by practicing, leaders can offer it constructively without being hurtful. Number 4, they have to admit to mistakes. Obviously, I feel like, as it allows employees to do the same too, and creates trust. 5, they have to build an organizational architecture that supports candor. What this basically means is, from the rules set forth by the board of directors, so from the foundation essentially, they should aim to discourage leaders from withholding information and also dissolve this culture of competition that arises from leaders trying to outdo each other. And finally, they must set information free. This is as simple as it sounds. Be open and free to share whatever information one has. This culture of candor leads to many benefits, which is explored within Timothy Galpin's 2009 article, Creating a Culture of Candor in the Leadership Classroom. They find that the presence of candor increases the flow of useful ideas. This results in faster decision making, lower costs, and higher productivity. They furthermore argue how this culture should be fostered in the workplace with classrooms as well, provide a great insight over the beneficial aspects of candor that the leaders in such respective places must uphold and respect. In this case, the importance of transparency and openness within the team should not be undermined, as it itself can be a factor that really determines the effectiveness of a group. While I did go somewhat quickly at the end there, the point still stands that a culture of candor is extremely beneficial within all types of environments. The argument presented here is one that I really do agree with, as I'm someone who greatly values trust and openness in almost anything. I don't care if it hurts my feelings, you guys. Be as honest as you can. Now, using this information out in the real world, scary thoughts, I know. I do feel like while many people may believe this reading is primarily directed to leaders, which, let's be honest, not everyone can be, this reading still provides essential information towards the honesty and openness of team members and employees as well. As everyone, not only a leader, must do their part in maintaining this culture of candor and being open and transparent. This will definitely influence my future careers and relationships greatly, as I will definitely aim to build this culture of candor, no matter how small, and work to maintain this transparency. As for how this will apply to my class, seeing as how I've already been in groups, they have all been characterized by this transparency and openness for any issues that we may have or that may arise. And learn to be open, even if I'm not necessarily a leader. I know the best thing I can do is speak up and let the teams I'm in know of any issues or problems that I have. For ultimately, at least for me, transparency is such a vital and important thing within a group. So that's going to be it for me, guys. I thank you so much for watching this episode. Short and sweet, I believe. It was a very fascinating reading and I liked it a lot. Definitely a fun one for me. And well, since this is being recorded near Halloween, I just wish y'all a happy Halloween. Get some candy and, just remember to stay safe. And as always, stay alive, guys.